Today, probably our best overall practice of the spring, obviously very early, but I really like the mental effort, the mental intensity, the focus, of our team, and I was really waiting to see how we would respond on a Tuesday after a long Saturday practice. Still a lot of work to do, but for the first time I could see some things coming together in terms of swarming to the football. I like the overall physicality of practice. A long way to go, but I think the big thing as we continue to progress is focusing on what it takes to play winning football. And there's so much that goes into it, and we have a lot of work to do in that regards, but I'll answer any questions you may have.
When you watched the film on Saturday, was there anything that jumped out that you didn't see initially on the field?
Well, there's always things that jump out, but again, we're not executing, in offense and defense, and we weren't very good in our gap assignments defensively, and offensively, still our throw game has to improve, the overall efficiency, the tempo. But I started to see small steps. We're taking those incremental small steps. But you start to see individuals doing what we're coaching in terms of body and a body down the field. But again, we have to generate more turnovers on defense, and then our quarterbacks have to do a better job of taking care of the football. Saturday we had the costly turnover that was 6 points the other way. That's again playing winning football. So I see it happening, but like I said, in small dosages. But it's there. It's encouraging to see that.
Is it a situation where the lack of execution tailors off at the end of practice, or is it still popping up even at the beginning because they're still trying to learn your system?
You sound like an athlete. It progressively gets worse as practice goes on, and it's that conditioning that we talk about. It's that mental conditioning. It's fighting through fatigue. It's learning to play the next play and focus. It's all about a mindset. And I thought we took steps from Saturday to Tuesday. I thought we took steps that way. And it's getting into football condition and football shape. And, you look at it as, this program didn't do anything for the entire month of December. Like I said, when we started spring practice, we're down 15 practices. So, the conditioning levels, were poor. And, we've talked about it Allison tells me we lost 320 pounds of body fat as a football team, and we gained over 220 pounds of muscle in 4.5 weeks of training. So that leads me to believe that our players are working extremely hard, but it's a process. But I started to see some improvement in that end today.
But you talked about the passing game needing to progress. Cody Blank had a couple of nice catches on Saturday. What do you see out of him and his progression so far?
Well, Cody Blank's an individual who continues to get better, and I think the biggest thing is he brings a level of consistency each and every day, and he's fairly new to the position, and he's taken coaching. He's doing a great job. He made some big plays for us on Saturday, but now it's carrying that over to Tuesday and then to Thursday. Just that consistency in performance in which we talk about every day.
With the wide receivers as a whole, is it still kind of mixed up? Does anyone start to stand out there? Or is it still kind of
No, not yet. And again, it's a very, as we know, there's no secret about it. It's a very, very young position, and not very many of these individuals have played. We have positional changes there, and it's a process by which the style and manner that we want to play. But I do see strides. I do see progress being made. But again, this is a football team that we have to continue overall to get better. And we keep talking about it as one day at a time.
Are you able to say anything on Eric Gordon's status right now?
Yeah, Eric's on campus. He's taking classes, but Eric's taking care of some things off the field that occurred, and so we're working through that. And he has some things that he has to do in order to get back practicing.
What is Daniel Grady's prognosis right now?
He has asthma, and this morning he woke up with asthma attack and some things. So obviously we're going to err on the precautionary side with our players.
Coach, the practices we're seeing, does this look like your first practice at Central Michigan, or have you evolved? Just talk about how you evolved to where the kind of practice you want to run.
Well, obviously, to play an up-tempo style, you have to live it every day. And, I don't like walking on the field. And so it's a mindset, and you have to condition the mind to play the way we want to play, and it all starts in practice. We want to be physical, make no mistake about it. For us to take strides this year with this football team, we have to be a much more physical football team, both mentally and physically. And you have to live that way every day. And we're not anywhere where we need to be to compete in the SEC. but we're making strides. But it's pretty much, obviously you grow as you start off from Central Michigan to Cincinnati here, but it's philosophically, it's the same details, it's the tempo. I just have always believed that.
Who influenced you, your ideas for how a practice should be run?
Well, I think, I've had the great fortunate, I've been fortunate and I've been the beneficiary of working for a lot of great football coaches and working with a lot of good football coaches that aren't head football coaches. But obviously, Rich Rodriguez taught me a lot in terms of tempo. Brian Kelly, an individual, Mike DeBoard, who was a former head coach at Central Michigan as well, that's been in the National Football League. He taught me a lot, starting off at an early age in the National Football League with Doug Graber, and then going to Rutgers with him taught me a lot, and then a lot of great assistants along the way. So, as a head coach, you try to take bits and pieces from everyone and kind of mold them into your own philosophies, but also when you go visit places. And, as head coaches, I talk to a number of head coaches around the country weekly, and there are no patents in football.
Have the guys seemed to respond about like you thought, or pretty well? Or?
You know what? They've responded exceptionally well. These are the times now when you're going into practice 4 and 5, and now you're getting into the pads, and your legs become weary, your mind becomes weary, and that's where we talk about that mental conditioning, and that's where your overall discipline comes in, and this is where you got to grind it. This is really where your team starts to be born. I'm kind of disappointed we have to break it up with with spring break coming up. We'll be 1/3 of the way, and now we can come back and now finish. But I like what I see in terms of our players, their effort. Today was a great illustration of that.
Is it a situation where guys can distinguish themselves at any time, or do you kind of expect maybe to practice 10 when guys are really going to start creating separation?
Well, I think each individual is different. We have some individuals right now that have great consistency in their performance and they're separating themselves. We have some individuals who are still working on that consistency factor. And so, the big thing I think we have to do is every person has to challenge themselves, and they got to challenge each other to be better football players and to be a better football team every time we step on the football field or in the weight room.
Butch, there's a point you were so happy about the defense swarming the ball, you let the quarterback be live for a couple plays. Did J.K. give you a look like,
he's used to it.
Here?
He's used to it. And, we want to make our quarterbacks live because, it's a little bit different feeling when you're standing in the pocket and you're live. And we have to find out who our quarterback is. So there'll be times throughout the spring that we'll make them live. And I also wanted to see not only how the defense would respond, but how our offense would respond, our offensive line, but in particular our quarterback, and to see if he would flinch at all, and he didn't.